Oh, hi. It's you guys. I've missed you so much this week. You've been gone at camp. I just miss you so. I'm glad to see you back. Yay. Guess what? We've got a quiz. We have two things, two ideas, two concepts that are going to be on this quiz that we need to practice on this very video. 1, multiplication with decimals. 2, division with decimals. So those are the two things that we're going to practice today. You might recall we did a quick little check in class on Friday before you went on your trip, which I hope was wonderful, by the way. I hope you have all kinds of stories to tell me about slugs and about food and about sleep and maybe some bats or something like that. Mosquitoes? I don't know. I want to hear it all. I want to hear all the stories. On Thursday this week, we are having our quiz on multiplication and division with decimals. And please remember our little quick check that I gave you that we in class on Friday before you went on your trip was a problem. There was one of each and of those types of problems. And I told you, and that is true, that one of these two problems, these are the ones that were on their check that we did, one of these problems is exactly the same as will appear on the quiz, except for I changed one digit. So perhaps this one is 0.05 divided by 24 hundredths. Or maybe it's 20 and 6 hundredths divided by 34 hundredths. So one digit got changed. And on one of them, it could be that one, or it could be this one. Maybe it's 416 and 7 tenths times 3 and 6 tenths, right? So I just changed one digit. Everything else about the problem is exactly the same. And then on one of these two, it's exactly the same numbers. I just have moved the decimal to a different location. So maybe it's the decimal point is here in this multiplication problem instead of here. So practicing these two problems will absolutely support your success on this quiz. These are exactly the kind of problems we're going to have. There are a total of, on the quiz, which I have written, 2 multiplication, 3 division. All right, you will have your multiplication chart with you, available to you for this, because it's not testing do you know your math facts, it's do you know the process. Okay, so get your notebooks out, put the date on the page like we normally do, and we're going to work through these problems. I'm going to ask that you pause the video, try the problem, and then watch the video to see the solution to make sure you're doing it properly. And that's how we're going to roll in this video. We're just going to have 2 problems, so it'll be hopefully a pretty quick video, although I'm already 3 minutes and 27 seconds in. So I'm going to try and make it as fast as we can. All right, so get your journals out, date on the page. Let's start with this multiplication problem here. 416 and 8 tenths times 3 and 6 tenths. It's written horizontally. It'll be written horizontally on the quiz as well, because I want to make sure you know how to rewrite it vertically. All right, so pause the video, rewrite it, and then we'll solve. Or you solve it, and then you'll check. Okay, here we go. You should have rewritten it vertically like this. It just so happens that these decimals do align, but that's just because I have them, set up here where this is in tenths and this is in tenths, and that's fine. If you had a multiplication problem, for example, 32415 with a decimal here times 1.7, whatever digit is to the furthest to the right aligns with whatever digit is furthest to the right. The decimals do not have to be stacked up, right? So anyway, we're not solving this problem unless you want to, but this is not going to be on the quiz for certain. I just made that up off the top of my head. But just make sure that whatever digit is to the furthest right is aligned with whatever digit is furthest to the right. That's how it's stacked. You're not going to have it, you are not going to solve this problem like this, trying to stack up your decimal points. This is weird because it has these two empty spots here that you'd have to put placeholder zeros, and that becomes a whole problem. So just be aware that this is how you're going to write it. You're not going to try and stack the decimals. It just so happens that they are stacked because of the problem that I had written. Okay. So going through and solving this here problem, we're going to pretend that those decimal points are not there because they have no bearing on the solving of this problem at this point. So we're going to kind of turn those decimals invisible in our mind and just ignore them. Solve the problem as if it was 4,168 times 36. Then we deal with the decimals at the end and their placement in the product. All right? So 6 times 8 is 48. Regrouping by 4. 6 times 6 is 36. Plus 4 is 40. Remember, I'm writing down the ones place, regrouping whatever's in the tens place of that product, right? 48, 40, right? 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 10. Regroup my 1. 6 times 4 is 24, plus the 1 is 25. My first row and your first row should read 25008. All right? Now I'm dealing with the problem, the digit that is currently in my tens place because I'm pretending that decimal's not there. My answer is to start in the tens place. So I put my placeholder 0 here on that check. A bunch of people forgot that step, forgot to add this little placeholder 0 here. So now I start. 3 times 8 is 24. I write it here because my answer is starting in the tens place here. 24, I regroup my 2. These guys already got added in the previous round. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 2 is 20. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. 3 times 4 is 12. My second row and your second row should be 1, 2, 5, 0, 4, 0. And they should be stacked the way that they are with this placeholder 0 under the 8. The 0 is on top of the 4. These two zeros are stacked. 5 on top of the 5, 2 on top of the 2, and this 1 is all here by its lonesome at the end. Now I add. 8 plus 0 is 8, 0 plus 4 is 4, 0 plus 0 is 0, 5 plus 5 is 10. I regroup my 1, 2 plus 2 plus 1 is 5, and a 1. My bottom row should read 150048. All right? Now I'm going to remove the invisibility from those two decimals, and they have now returned, and now we have to put them in their proper spot. So how do I find the location of where the decimal belongs? I count how many digits are to the right of my decimal points. There's a decimal point, there's 1 digit to the right. Here's another decimal point, and 1 more digit to the right. That's a total of 2. So I start at the end and I count 1, 2 spots over is where our decimal point sits, because I had 2 digits to the right of my decimal point. Okay? So your answer should be 1,548 hundredths. All right? So that's good. You don't have to write anything else down around that except for this. On the quiz on Thursday, I'm looking to see that you've shown me this, and this, and this with my little arrow. I want to see all of my little regrouping stuff up here. That tells me that you're calculating it through, all right? Some people are like, oh, I can just remember that there's a 4 that I'm adding on in my head. I want to see it. I want to see it. So show it to me, please. All right? As an example of that whole how do we move our decimal point at the end, let's pretend you don't need to write this part, but I'm just giving it as an example. Let's pretend for a second that the decimal point was not there, but the decimal point was here. These 2 rows would be identical because my numbers haven't changed, but now I have 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of the decimal point. Then it would go 1, 2, 3 decimal points over, and that would be where it would live. Right? And then it would be 150 and 48 thousandths. So just remember, we're counting how many digits are to the right of the decimal point. That's how many digits we move over from the end. All right? But that's not the answer we got for the problem I gave you guys. Here is where it was, and here's where it is. We're not circled there back in time. That was our answer. All right? Thank you. All right. If you made errors in your work, correct those errors right now. Like when I'm looking at it in Google Classroom, the photo that you're going to take of all of this later, I want to see this. I want to see a correct answer. All right. So you may edit your work. You can do a second draft of your problem. When you are in the quiz, you can do a second draft. You can realize, and actually that reminds me, I know that we're now 11 minutes and 24 seconds in here, and we've only done one problem, but it helps for you to check and make sense, see if your answer makes sense. This is 416 and 8/10. But what if this is 400 times 3? 400 times 3, 2 400s is 800. One more makes 1200. This is in the neighborhood of 1200. So that answer makes sense. All right. Next page. Here's a division problem. I want to make sure you know how to write this problem correctly. What one goes inside the box? What one goes outside the box? Right? Pause the video. Rewrite the problem so it is going to be solved vertically here. A lot of people got this part of it wrong on that check. So check yourself. And then if you realize, oh, I got it backwards, then pause the video again and rewrite it the right way so we can solve it correctly. All right, pause the video and give it a shot. Okay, let's solve it. All right, so this is the dividend. That's what goes inside of the box. This is what is being divided. So the number that's first in the problem before the division symbol goes inside the box. 20.06. That's the dividend. That vocabulary is not going to be on the quiz, but it has divide in it, which means we're like, it's what's being divided. This is called the divisor. That's like my superhero name. I'm the divisor. Right? So I'm going to divide these things. Right? Okay. Didn't give myself a lot of room up here, but we're going to make it work. Please remember that you cannot work with a decimal in the divisor. You have to get rid of it. So what we're going to do is look for that equivalent problem that requires us to have this decimal point living here. We're going to move it over 2 spots to the right. But because we're looking for equivalency, we have to find an equivalent problem. We have to move this decimal 2 spots to the right. And the shortcut is, if you move it over twice, you have to move it over twice. You're trying to get that decimal point to move so this becomes a whole number out here. The divisor is a whole number. So now we're dealing with 2006 divided by 24. All right? So now you've got a couple of options. You may either, on the quiz, show me all of your guessing and checking. I want to see the multiplication problems that you used to go through this process, because you have to divide and then multiply, subtract, bring down, right? The whole Dracula must suck blood repeatedly. Right? Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then repeat. You can do the show me all your guessing and checking over here, so I'll see multiple little multiplication problems, or you could list all of the multiples of 24 so that you've got it all set to go. All right? Personally, I see a lot of value in the adding all the multiples so we can have our list. And there's one little tip here that I want you to listen to that I did not tell you when I did the original lesson on it that I think is really helpful. So that's what I'm going to do. If you're going to do all the guessing and checking, that's fine. I mean, you already have solved this, right? Pause this if you have not done that so already and solve this problem and then unpause it. But if you've already done it, then you will see what we've got. So 24 plus 24 equals 48. 48 plus 24 is 72. 72 plus 24 is 96. So this is what you get 24 times 1. This is 24 times 2. This is 24 times 3. This is 24 times 4 plus 24. Remember, multiplication is just repeated addition. 24 times 5. This is 24 times 6. This is 24 times 7. This is 24 times 8. And I ran out of room. And some people did also on their little quiz check. So then you go 192 plus 24 is 216. That's 9. And then I actually told you you could stop at 9 because you're never going to have an answer that's up here that's 10. But here is the reason why I think actually now that I made a mistake in saying that. I'm going to add 24 one more time. If you show me 10 of them, this 10th row of that addition problem proves if I did my addition properly. It confirms that 10 times, because we know that 10 times 24 is 24 with a 0, 240. This 0 is because it was times 10. So the reason why you should, and this is like, you guys, I've been teaching for this is my 31st year. And I've never thought of this when I'm done division like this. I've never thought about why that 10th row is so important. That 10th row is important because a lot of people make accidental adding errors here. And that's what throws off your whole division problem. And it happens every year where people are like, I know how to add 24, and they kind of just go casually through and they forget that they had to regroup here or something like that. So the reason why you go to your 10th column is that it confirms the rest of my adding is correct. Is because I know that 10 times 24 is 240. You should land on 240 here because 10 times 24 is 240. I'm learning every year something new. So, and that's common sense. I should have thought of that 29 years ago. But here we are. We're there. That's all that matters. So that's why you should go to the 10th row when you're adding this way, is to confirm your math. Okay, so now that I have my menu of all of the different rows of 24s, solving this problem just requires me to go through these steps pretty quickly. It makes it kind of a friendly problem. 24 does not go into 2. 24 does not go into 20. By the way, my decimal point is sitting here because I moved it over and it goes straight up. But 24 does go into 200. How many times? It goes in there 8 times, 192. Because 9 times is 216, that's too big. Goes in 8 times. 8 times what? 24 is 192. I just divided. I just multiplied. Now I subtract. 1, 10, now it's a 9, now it's a 10. I cannot take 2 from 0. That was a mistake that a lot of people were making on that check, was that they were subtracting and forgetting, I can't take 2 from 0. I have to do all this regrouping so it allows me to subtract. 10 take away 2 is 8. 9 take away 9 is 0. 1 take away 1 is 0. I just have an 8, right? I just subtracted. Now I have to bring down. Bring down my 6. It sits here next to my 8. 86. What's the closest I can get to 86 without going over? 48, 72, 96 is too big, so 3. 3 times 24 is 72. Now I subtract. I divided, I multiplied, I subtract. 6 take away 2 is 4. 8 take away 7 is 1. I have not gone to my thousands place, so I'm not done yet, people. You go until you hit the thousands place or until there's nothing else to bring down and I've hit 0 here. All right, so add a 0, bring it down. 140. Nope, 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 nope. Too big. So back to this. 5 times 24 is 120. Right? See how easy that is to find it on that list? Friendly, pinch. All right, I just divided. Now I multiplied, now I subtract. And now I bring down another 0 because I haven't hit the thousands place yet. How many times does 24 go into 200? Well, 216 is 9. That's too big. 192 is 8. So I'm back to 8 again. 8 times 24 is 192. 192, Mr. Dell. Subtract. I can't take 2 away from 0. 10 take away 2 is 8. And now I'm back to an 8. One more 0. Bring her down. Now this is the spot that's going, the answer that's going in my thousands place. So this is my last round through. As close as I get to 80. 96 is too big. 72. It's 3. 3 times 24, 72. I subtract, I get 8. And guess what? Now if you're paying attention, which maybe you are, or maybe you're like, I just want to be done. If I added another 0, which I'm not going to because I hit the thousands place, we're finished. But just something that I noticed is if I added another 0, bring it down, I'd have another 80. And then 24 would go into 80 3 times. 3 times 24 is 72. And I'd subtract, I have an 8. And add another 0, bring it down, it's an 80. So we have now hit a repeating decimal here. Not that it matters. You don't need to show me that little line over there that means it's repeating because we hit thousands place. That's where you're invited to stop. But if you happen to notice, it is going to cause me to be in a repeating loop. Then I could put that little thing over there. You're not going to get extra points for it, but I would go, ooh, they noticed. All right, so there's our division problem. It's showing me all the steps. It's got this really delicious pizza slice diagonal here, which I know I really like. And if you find that your division problem is continuing down vertically, like then it means you got yourself caught in something. It has to go this diagonal because each time the problem is shifting over a little bit more because we're traveling down each step down the line, right? So it should have this nice, delicious diagonal. I want to see on the quiz that you can write it vertically. I want to see on the quiz that you're showing me the steps neatly. I want to see your multiplication, either a guess and check, which is fine, or showing me your addition over here and to make all of our multiples of 24. So now we just have a menu of the numbers. I think it's really helpful for you to write down that that's times 1 and this is 24 times 2 and that this is 24 times 3 and this is 24 times 4. That's really helpful. It's helpful for you for solving it. It's helpful for me that you're thinking about it. All right. So that is it. You're going to have a total of 5 problems, 2 of them multiplication, 3 of them division is what you're going to have on that quiz. And you're going to do great. You're going to do great. I'm going to I already, as you're watching this, you have already received back your, these exact same 2 problems on that check, right? On the quiz check that we did on Friday. So you're going to actually see that types of errors that you're making, or if you're doing this correctly, right? I've circled in pink. It is pink, I think, where your errors are if there are errors in either of these 2 problems, right? So check them against this, but like I really want you solving them again. I don't want you to just recopy. I want you to solve them again. Go through that process again, all right? You're going to do great. I'm proud of you. I really am. I'm seriously, I know I was kind of playing with the whole crying, but I missed you. I'm glad you're back. And I look forward to seeing you again. And this quiz on Thursday is going to go well, I hope. All right. If you have questions, see me in class on Tuesday. You can see me on office hours on Wednesday. Ooh, you know what? Sorry. Newsflash. There will not be office hours on Wednesday because that is my class play. My class play is on the 17th, and your quiz is on the 18th. So my class play, I will be just kind of like way up here for my class play. We'll be doing our cast party and all that stuff on that Wednesday. So no office hours on Wednesday. So you're going to have to talk to me on Tuesday if you have questions. All right, that's going to be it. All right, again, welcome back, and I look forward to seeing you later this week. Bye.